I was very pleased as a result of the discussions that we had that a fairly large program was begun from Washington, and in particular from the Department of Defense and the national security concerns relative to understanding cultures and how those would influence our relations with the U.S. and some of the situations that we might find ourselves in, and have that as a basis for most constructively moving forward from these situations. Agent-based modeling is a computer simulation and modeling technique that is relatively new, in which we are able to model individual entities or agents. Typically, agents are people. They could also be organizations, other types of groups of people, social networks perhaps. And with agent-based modeling, we're able to represent the individuals with their peculiar attributes and characteristics, as well as their behaviors. Synthetic populations are essentially populations of individuals that are represented within our computer, in our computer models. There are many areas in which agent-based modeling, the use of synthetic populations, is very important. Some of the areas include analysis of the infrastructure, because the infrastructure, it is a physical thing, but it doesn't operate by itself. People operate the infrastructure. They make decisions pertaining to how it's used, how it's expanded, and in particular, the general population of people in the real world use the infrastructure in ways that are best suited to meet their needs. Increasing the computational capability at SMART, I think, is an area that we've had some wonderful discussions the past 2 weeks, and I think I've been able to, let's say, pass on some of my observations and findings from having a broader interest in, as well as experience with, what's going on with agent-based modeling, both in the US, but virtually all over the world. And I'm able to do this in part because of the projects and experiences that we've gained in our own laboratory, but also my participation in professional activities such as being on the editorial boards of journals in the field, and which gives me an access to most of the work that's going on in the world right now. So I'm very excited about the possibilities that the Smart Infrastructure facility has at making major contributions to the field and advancing the state of the art. Professor Peter Campbell and I have worked together for, we calculated 24 years, and our association began when we were doing work in the area of logistics and logistics planning, using not traditional modeling and simulation techniques, but newly emerging techniques in the areas of artificial intelligence and expert systems. The people and essentially their behaviors, at least their possible behaviors, in terms of using everything from the infrastructure to how they interact on a daily basis, which in turn possibly influences things like the spread of infectious diseases, the diffusion, as we would call it, of ideas and information, are really a new frontier, that the kind of techniques that we are using and applying to complex systems, in particular the infrastructure, have an opportunity to make advances here for the first time in a real substantive way.